Hey, we're back again, 2 days in a row. Who would have thought it, right? Um, yeah, no, I just felt like doing another episode. So now we're looking at this is episode 46, and hey, if I keep up this speed, who knows how many episodes I can get, or I'll get to that 50 mark by next week if I'm, you know, I say that now. We'll see what next week brings us because we've got the long weekend, and typically, whenever I have an extra day off throughout a week or a 4 day work week, it turns into a condensed 5 day work week within 4 days. So it's usually a bit of a pain in the ass. But hey, I'll take that day off. No problem. Got a new thing that I'm into, and let's see, using these old, I don't know if it's old really, but these tea sets, and adding the loose leaf tea. My hipster game just went up 2 points, I think, and cheers. I have all this loose leaf tea that I've been getting at David's Tea or whatever. Who knows how long ago? Just sitting in a cupboard that at the time seemed like a great idea. Get them for gifts and things like that. And I just haven't really been using it. I don't really like using the single cup diffusers. It's kind of a pain in the ass. There's so many parts to clean. But I got this little Japanese or Chinese tea set at a local market, and I don't know, I think it was like $15 or something like that. So a good purchase. Really enjoying it. It's something a little different. That 11 o'clock craving comes. I don't always have to turn to coffee. I mean, I don't really drink coffee too often. I did today, and it does bother my throat a bit still. So I'm trying to avoid it, but sometimes it's just what I'm craving, right? Tea doesn't always do it for me. But yeah, big day today. Raptors game day. Go Raptors. It's game 3 if you haven't been following, and we're down 2-0 in the series. So I'm hoping for a W today. We're not, we have good composure on the team overall, and I've got faith in the boys that they're going to turn this one around and make a series out of it. For whatever reason, we just haven't been playing really well against Boston this year, and so they've kind of got our number there. Also, playoff basketball is a lot different. I'm not an expert in basketball by any means. I've been a fan for most of my life, I guess. And you really start to notice, not having that perennial all-star on your team in the playoffs makes a big difference. Like losing Kawhi last year. Obviously, it's fourth quarter, it's crunch time. Who are you going to give the ball to? Well, we don't really have that guy to get the ball to. Not in every game. Sometimes you got a guy like Kyle Lowry or Van Vliet stepping up. They're going to hit that clutch three. Pascal is, he's a good player. He's really developed, but he's not a Kawhi by any means, and he's just not he's not good enough to be double teamed and still get that basket. It's maybe he'll get there one day, but he's still young. Not too worried. It's just you got to manage expectations, right? But overall, the NBA has been super exciting. We've had 2 Game 7s go on in the Western Conference, and so that was exciting. And it's not just like the 1 or 2 team race anymore, and I'm really digging that because for a while, when Golden State was winning all the time, it was just not really all that exciting. Got a team that's just so much better than everyone else. What's the point? You don't get that underdog story. You don't get that anything can happen sort of situation, and it's just not as interesting. Winning 3 championships, or I think it's 3. I don't know. It's just not the same if no one else can even compete with you. I could say that about any sport really, but basketball is really the only one that really stands out to me. The hockey side of things, I'm watching the scores, but the Leafs were out in the first round. As you know, I'm a Leafs fan, and I just don't really pay that much attention when I don't have a horse in the race, which is the main reason I don't watch football. Don't really care for it in the sense that I have no one to cheer for. I'm sure if I was a diehard fan of something, I'd figure out a way to like the sport. I can like pretty much any sport. I remember very vividly being a curling fanatic for about a week in the Vancouver Olympics when we were winning or in the gold medal game. And that was as exciting as it gets. So here we are. On other news, I talked about sourdough yesterday. I even posted a photo of what my finished product looked like, and my goodness, it was fabulous. It was such a beautiful sight when you try something and you fail a couple times and then finally get it right. Yeah, I was really impressed with that. Really proud of myself because I'm the sort of person that I want to be able to do something right away. I don't like failure, and making sourdough is definitely one of those things that you need to fail a few times before you figure it out, and it's frustrating. It's very different from any other bread, like making any sort of typical bread using instant yeast and stuff like that. It's a walk in the park in comparison to doing a sourdough. The big mistake I was really making was well, in my yeast. I just assumed that if I was using a yeast culture, that whenever I wanted to make bread, then that I would just use that yeast culture to make it. It doesn't work that way. Really, what you need to do is you have your starter, and maybe about maybe the day before, or like technically maybe a couple hours before you're going to start actually making your bread. That's when you add in equal parts water and flour to your starter to really feast on that existing culture, and that's when you get a lot of yeast activity. So I wasn't doing that before, and my yeast was too liquidy. It wasn't really doing much. It was getting a bit of a rise, but it wasn't what I was looking for. And this time around, I did it properly. Noticed a big difference in how much air is in my dough, and I've got the still don't know the name of it. It's a Bannets, something like that. Anyways, that I mentioned yesterday that my sister got for me. That worked like a charm. I think that was the missing thing here. Your final rise needs to be in these baskets, and they got to get that airflow in there. And yeah, that was also a big difference. And I lowered the oven temperature. So typically they tell you to start cooking a sourdough in a temperature of like 500 to 550. I went for 475 and then lowered it down to 425. And I also used two different pots because I don't have a Dutch oven. So my granny actually got me a like a West Indian cooking pot that is very similar to a Dutch oven. It's just I think it's made of aluminum, so a little bit different, but it has kind of the same aspect. And I cooked one loaf in that and another loaf in this like fairly thin pot that I had with a lid. It was the only other pot that would work in this case. And what I noticed is the thinner pot did rise a little bit higher than the other pot I was using, but the bottom still burnt. So I mean, obviously I need something a little thicker. The other pot I used, the West Indian cooking pot, worked really well. No burning on the bottom. I could have cooked the loaf a little bit longer, but I was actually planning to use it a little dinner party I'm having on Sunday. And so I put it in the freezer. I'm going to reheat it, so it kind of worked out nicely where it wasn't overcooked, and I could put it back in the oven on Sunday when I need it. So yeah, everything's coming up for John on this one, and I'm looking forward to making some more bread down the road. Maybe I'll switch it up a bit and get a little crazy. Who knows, right? This is bread we're talking about, right? So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Big news for me today, as you know, I'm into the video games. And Nintendo released, they're doing like a 35th anniversary of Mario, and they're releasing a 3-pack game that comes with Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy, the first installment. And I'm pretty pumped for this. I don't know what the price point's going to be yet. I saw some notes that it was going to be $49.99 in the US, so obviously it's going to be a little bit more expensive in Canada. Still going to pick up the game regardless. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't do a full remake of at least Mario 64. I mean, it kind of keeps things open for the future. We'll see what happens. It is still in HD, so they updated a little bit. I'm sure it won't be like choppy or anything like that. But it's a little disappointing. Either way, still happy to get my hands on it soon. And I'm also really excited to play Mario Sunshine again. The reason being is it's one of the only Mario games that I actually got into and didn't beat. I can't really remember why. I do remember it being super challenging. As far as Mario games, I remember it being the hardest of all of them. So I'm up for the challenge now and looking forward to it. So yeah, super exciting stuff, and looking forward to see what else comes out this year for video games. Because I mean, I am anticipating another potential lockdown with COVID as this second wave kind of comes in through the fall. At least that's what I'm anticipating. And it'd be nice to have some more video games to play during that time. I mean, I am reading. You know, in the time I have to read, which is very limited, I picked up. I posted it probably about a month ago now that I started reading 1984, and it's, oh man, what a book. It is intense and really makes you think. I won't get too far into it because I think most people have kind of read this book, but yeah, man, makes you think, that's for sure. I'll just leave it at that for anyone who hasn't read it, and anyone who has read it will agree with me on that. That it's very thought provoking, and it's insane how you can sort of remove someone's freedom to think in general through years of just controlling your people, or controlling the masses through manipulation and fear. And man, it's crazy. But that's my show today. I'm happy to do another one back to back here, and we'll see what next week brings. All right, stay classy.